The old school Big East added here in the quarterfinals, and the tip is maybe stolen there by Ochefu, and Villanova will start with the ball.
Better move by Ochefu, but let's keep in mind, and let's keep an eye. Georgetown started off slow last week against Villanova, got down early. Can't afford to do that, even though it's a neutral court, to this explosive Villanova offense.
Here is Ochefu against Hayes, drop step. And Hayes, good defense, held his ground. Here comes Trey Campbell for Georgetown.
That prime example of Hayes on the defensive end forced Ochefu into a tough shot inside.
Smith-Rivera picked up the dribble. Trey Campbell, plenty of time on the shot clock. Shot clock down to 10. Campbell looked up, guarded by Arcidiacono. Baseline jumper. Derrickson able to hit. That's a 2 for Marcus Derrickson, who did not have a field goal in the victory over DePaul last night. And here comes Georgetown setting up in a full court 1-2-2 press.
Yeah, two things there. Derrickson, the ability to step out and knock down jump shots opens up the offense. But when you score, Georgetown, you can set up your defense.
Arcidiacono in the paint. Doesn't get the roll, and Hayes with the rebound. These teams met on Saturday, as the guys in the pregame show were talking about. And Villanova won that one 84-71, in and out, and the rebound to Josh Hart. Hart pushing it, decides to pull it back out. Brunson gets all the way to the hoop, too strong though.
Rarely do you see Brunson missed a little bunny right there. I think he's anticipating a little contact.
Derrickson, too strong. Now Brunson. And remember, for Brunson, this is his first Big East tournament game.
Nerves. You heard a lot about it. You've seen it on TV, and now you got a chance to experience it. But because he's with a veteran team in regards to Ryan Arcidiacono in the backcourt, I think he'll be able to settle his nerves down early on.
Jenkins has been very hot. Shot clock down to 4. Brunson. Shot clock at 2. Jenkins puts it up. And the rebound for Hayes. So an 0 for 4 start for Villanova. And they trail only 2-0. Campbell took a bump, no whistle. Hayes is there. The big man able to find his position and put it in.
Well, a lot of times, Coach, when you break down the defense, dribble penetration, that time Ochefu had to come over and help. It opened up the offensive rebounding opportunity for Hayes.
Hart able to put it in, the first field goal of the day for Villanova. And Josh Hart has been so good and so consistent all year long.
Well, here's the thing, too. The Georgetown defense, Saturday's game, Villanova was able to beat the press over the top, and we see that early in this game as well.
Nearly a turnover. Derrickson's got it to Smith-Rivera. Baseline jumper. Copeland, no, and Hart with a rebound. Pushing ahead for Arcidiacono. Hart transition 3, got it. Last year's Big East tournament most outstanding player has the first 5 for Villanova.
It's funny what a year makes. He said coming into the tournament, so much was geared towards Hilliard and Javon Pinkston and Arcidiacono. It allowed him to kind of sneak quietly and do his work because the scouting report wasn't geared towards stopping him.
Shot clock down to 4. Derrickson. Brunson going right all the way to the hoop. After a slow start for Villanova, they've stormed back and now lead by 3, 7-4. $7-0 run here for the Wildcats. Smith-Rivera looking down low, mismatch. Hayes, the kick out. Campbell for 3, ties it up. Great awareness by the big man. Seeing the double team, knew he had the mismatch and found the open man.
Well, two things. Ochefu and also Hayes, excellent passers out of the post after they feel pressure.
Arcidiacono, good pump fake. The pull-up jumper's good.
Dude, what a pace to this game early on. I mean, it's going back and forth. Defensive stops. I think it favors Villanova in some aspects. But Georgetown kind of hanging in there, getting quality shots early.
Campbell back-to-back threes.
This Georgetown team can play. It's a matter of kind of everybody at the same time putting it together and playing consistent for 40 minutes. It's not a lack of talent on this Georgetown team.
Preseason pick number 2 in the conference. A disappointing season to say the least. Jenkins for 3. Short, and a foul will be called against Hart. A good opening. 5.
Execute offensively and defensively the game plan for 40 minutes. And if you do that, you give yourself a solid chance to win the basketball game.
LJ Peak moved to the bench. The start of conference play has been really good off the bench for the Hoyas. Into the game is Caleb Johnson, number 32 for the first time. Hayes is back in. Smith Rivera up in the air, leaves it off. A beautiful feed for the cutting Caleb Johnson.
I like to see that more from DSR because his ability to, 1, beat his guy off the dribble, and then 2, make a sound decision and play is an asset for this Georgetown team.
Jenkins maybe got bumped from behind, no whistle. The rebound to Smith Rivera. Georgetown looking to push.
This is where he's really good in transition, especially with a trailing pick and roll.
And now out of bounds on the sideline is Johnson, a turnover, and back in the game for Villanova is Josh Hart. Jay Wright named Big East Coach of the Year.
Is that his award? Should it be named the Jay Wright?
He's only won it in 2014, 2015, and now a co here in 2016. 5th time he's won the award. Ochefu, a foul on the floor, and that foul will be against LJ Peak. For Villanova, the last 3 years, it's been pretty much the same. 16-2 in conference play, 48-6 overall. This is what they were ranked in the AP coming into the Big East tournament. The first year lost in the quarterfinals against Seton Hall. Last year they won it. Here Arcidiacono hits the 3, looking for back-to-back Big East tournament championships.
Well, I tell you what, you take it for granted because you have talent that you're supposed to win. But again, this team is different than last year. You got more first, second-year players who haven't experienced this on a full-time level. You see a turnover by Georgetown. So the coaching staff has to change how they coach. Last year you had veteran players you could kind of manage. This year's team with Booth and Hart and Jenkins, Mikal Bridges, now you got to teach a lot more. So it's a different aspect and approach from year to year, and this coaching staff along with Jay Wright has done an excellent job with it.
For more on this, let's check in with Molly McGrath.
Yeah, that's right, Justin. I talked to Jay Wright about that before the game. He told me there's a significant difference between this and last year's team entering the tournament. Last year, all business. This year, with some young stars like Jalen Brunson, Wright can feel more excitement on the team and looseness. His message to them is turn that excitement into focus. We can see guys like Brunson able to do that early on.
A 3-point lead for Villanova, the 3rd straight turnover for Georgetown. And here comes one of those exciting players for this Villanova team, and Mikal Bridges back into the game. And he is a player unlike we've seen for Jay Wright in a long time. This a long, athletic guy who can go high above the rim.
His body reminds you of Kerry Kittle.
Yep.
Well, just looking at him. And last year when he was out, and I mentioned this before, the work he put in before each and every game, since Josh Hart with his missed shot, was amazing. And it benefited him now. Put on some weight, physical, but his mental approach to the game has improved. That's why he's been an asset to Villanova.
Trey Campbell's 3 is short. The rebound for Arcidiacono. Villanova trying to extend the lead. Bridges trying to go baseline, and a blocking foul will be called against Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, think about it, Georgetown. 2 possessions, you turn the basketball over, empty possession. This one a quick shot. So when you're talking about beating this Villanova team, the precision on your offensive end has to be there. You can't allow yourself to have empty possessions because, as you see, Villanova can begin to stretch the lead out a little bit more.
Ochefu for the handoff for Arcidiacono. Ochefu against Hayes. Ochefu with that bad ankle. Didn't look bad on that one, but he airballs the attempts.
That was just excellent defense and discipline that time by Hayes and not going for those initial pump fakes by Ochefu.
Peak, top of the key, three is good. Ties it up at 22.
I tell you something, I saw something in that second half of the game last week. Georgetown was down, but Peak was playing extremely hard. He kept attacking. And since then, game-wise, it's just an extension of what happened last week. The young man can play. He got game.
He had 31 in that game against Villanova on Saturday.
But it was his energy in the second half that I thought stood out to me.
Hart nearly turned it over, out of bounds off of Hayes. 9 on the shot clock. We are all tied up at 22.
He takes it to heart. But he also relishes the fact that he's grown so much and he's the leader of what has become an outstanding career for him since he's been here.
Shot clock at 5. Brunson the pull up with 3 on the shot clock. No. And a foul is this against Hart. That's his second. It is against Hart, and that is his second foul. So with 7:32 to go in this first half, tied at 22, Josh Hart goes to the bench.
Well, you like the hustle, but then you say this is where the youth comes in a little bit. Josh Hart, knowing you have a foul already, critical that you're on the court, a little exuberant. Now you pick up a second and have to go to the bench.
Let's see what Villanova does without Hart in the lineup. Smith Rivera against Booth. Good defense by Booth, moving the feet. Shot clock down to 8. Campbell, little hesitation, has it blocked. And it looked like Hayes shoved Reynolds to the ground. The officials didn't see it. Jenkins for 3, and Hayes gets the rebound. But I tell you what, you're going to see something going on. Watch out for Hayes against Reynolds here. Smith Rivera, no on the 3. Reynolds going high for the rebound. Archidiakono settles things down. 6.5 to play. The pull-up for 3. And Reynolds tips it out, and it will be Georgetown ball. Let's look at what happened with Reynolds.
Yeah, just physical play and say, excellent block right there. Yeah, it was a little push like...
You're going down, I'm going to help you go down.
Exactly. But
or maybe get off my teammate.
Well, it might have been that. I think it was that.
And that is the 4th team foul against Georgetown. Hayes will come back in, replacing Govan.
And it's so hard, even though Villanova has not shot the ball from the 3 line at a high percentage like they did last year. It's so hard not to go for that pump fake because you know that these guys, these young men are capable of knocking down their shots. Georgetown, again, has to be more disciplined in their closeout on the perimeter players for Villanova.
Jenkins backing down against Campbell. Campbell knocks it out with 14 on the shot clock. A 2-point lead. It was 22 all when Josh Hart went to the bench with 7:32 to go. Not a lot of scoring since he left, and now again he is back on the floor. Archidiakono picked up the dribble. Shot clock down to 6. Jenkins fading away. Hang on, no shot. Traveling before. JT3 was all over that.
Well, how about the excellent job of Pete to take away the baseline drive and force Jenkins to have the reverse pivot. And we always talk about coaches, slide your feet, beat your opponent to the spot, force them to make a decision. That time, excellent footwork by Pete.
You wonder if Georgetown can extend this lead right now, leading by 2. Can they get a possession which doesn't end in a turnover?
Well, and how about this? For Georgetown mentally, you want to close out this half on a high. You don't want to play this well and find yourself with no momentum going into halftime.
Hayes, no. Jenkins the rebound. Almost a steal by Peak. Brunson got fouled. That foul is on the floor, though. No shot. That's just a 15th foul.
The little things right there. Peak going for the steal, open up the driving lane for Brunson. That time you have to be a little bit more south, because if you're able to contain Brunson now, you don't pick up that foul. The next foul for Villanova, they go to the free throw line.
Jay Wright going offense, defense with Josh Hart, putting him back in for offense. Because it's a foul on the floor, he's back on. 1:05 to go. Arcidiacono against Hayes. Hart asking for it. And Hart looked like he got tripped. He turns it over, and he's trying to bite his tongue right now.
Feet get tangled up. But once again, look at the footwork. Reach inside by DSR. But Georgetown playing tough defense. So that they have a chance. You got a chance on the offensive possession to go up 4 to 5 points and get a stop. So let's keep an eye to see if they can take advantage of a little momentum going into halftime.
Villanova changing up their defense out of the timeout. Now Trey Campbell will settle things down. LJ Peak saying, come on, let's go.
And I love the gamesmanship when you're out of a timeout when coaches switch up their defenses.
Good ball movement. Campbell for three. No. Hayes trying to keep it alive. Bridges has it. And now Villanova with a three can go into the locker room with a 1-point lead. And now Jay Wright will take a timeout.
Win games.
They're minus 12 on the glass. They've gone 1 for the last 10. And they've got a chance to go into the locker room with a lead. Jenkins for the lead. Got it.
You called it. You called it. Excellent out of timeout execution.
Campbell to go back up on top. No. How about that for Villanova?
They force you to turn it over, but then they take advantage and able to capitalize on the offensive end.
Georgetown starts the ball here in the second half. Hayes against Ochefu down low. Hayes, the hook shot off the glass. Oh, that's a tough force shot, let alone a game shot.
It's tough, but also the angle in which he received the ball early, Justin, was a little bit below the block, which made it a little tougher for that shot, but excellent concentration and touch off the glass for Hayes.
The 8th lead change of this game. Is this the 9th? Short, Copeland with a rebound.
And that's the starter key for Georgetown. You come out, you lose momentum, but you come on your first possession, and you put the ball in the hoop to take the lead.
Hayes posting up a shorter Brunson. Facing Jenkins, kept it high and puts it in. Back-to-back buckets for Bradley Hayes, a guy who missed 6 games. Georgetown was winless when he was out.
You rarely see it in college. You see it in the NBA. When a player has a mismatch or an opportunity to score, you go back to him. That time, Georgetown, excellent job of getting the ball in the hands of Bradley Hayes, and he converted.
Brunson, the free throw line pull-up jumper is nothing but net. Jalen Brunson, 7 points now. 1-point lead for Georgetown. Derrickson posting up against Hart. Smith-Rivera looking for a pick and roll. Again, the mismatch, this time with the left for Hayes.
Here's a smart play. Smith-Rivera extended his dribble. He forced Ochefu to come out and guard him. That gave the mismatch inside with Hayes to finish.
Hart gets fouled, and we're going to have the first free throws of this game coming up.
Well, the ability for Bradley Hayes to use his soft touch over the outstretched arms of Ochefu was amazing. But again, go back to who's hot. Bradley Hayes right now established himself inside. And again, I talked about, we see the end of this play. That's a tough shot offhand. That's somewhat injured to still have that touch. So excellent job of recognizing for Georgetown how to get the ball to Bradley, but Bradley himself making himself available in the post.
And because of the hot start for Hayes, Jay Wright has gone to the bench. He's brought in Phil Booth and Daryl Reynolds. 1 for 2 at the line for Hart. Again, those are the first 2 free throws of the day for either team. After last night's St. John's Marquette game, I think every Big East fan is very happy about that.
And think about the substitution. Is Ochefu really healthy enough maneuverability-wise?
Copeland to the hoop, puts it in. Georgetown has come out aggressive in this second half.
And they could have easily hung their head, been dejected by losing the lead in the first half. But started the second half a la how they did at the beginning of the game.
Now Reynolds can't handle the pass, turns it over.
The ability to get the ball moving around the perimeter is hopping around, and then the exploitation, long arms, athleticism of Copeland to recognize the lane was open and ultimately get there and finish.
Remember in that first half, early on, Georgetown was hitting from deep. 4 for 4 in this half, all in the paint. I just jinxed them.
Yeah, you did. But again, the theme though, early on, yes, they've been hitting jump shots, but they've been attacking Villanova off the dribble.
Hart off the dribble, it's short. Copeland's battling, and a foul is called against Reynolds, and Copeland is down in some pain.
And you can just take a look right here with Isaac Copeland. Great hustle by both players, and you can see the leg got wrapped up underneath Reynolds right at the end.
Look at the arm bar here.
Yeah,
that makes Ronda Rousey proud.
Any advantage you can get sometimes to keep your possession alive, you take, but Copeland seems like he's walking it off.
Villanova comes out, showing full court. Campbell against Booth. Smith-Rivera almost lost it. Hayes could have been called for an offensive foul. Smith-Rivera, difficult shot, puts it in.
Right, he's a king of making difficult shots, short in stature, but he created enough space, Justin, to fend off his defender and get a shot up.
Largest lead of the game for the Hoyas, 6 points. Remember, a couple years ago, Villanova, as the 1 seed, lost to Seton Hall at the buzzer. A shot by Sterling Gibbs. Maybe the most memorable game of this tournament in the Big East. And now Jenkins knocks down a clutch 3 for Villanova. He's saying, hey, let's not talk about that game right now.
Well, yeah, and for Jenkins, he hit one before half, struggled a shot early on. Now you come out in the second half and hit your first shot from 3. Georgetown better keep an eye on.
Derrickson for 3, back rims it, and a rebound to Booth. Kick out, corner, Booth 3 is good. (37-37), all tied up. Copeland. Hayes has it poked away by Reynolds. Here comes Arcidiacono. Booth here in the second half. Georgetown called the timeout. Down by 2.
And again, gamesmanship. Georgetown probably calling a play for man-to-man. Jay Wright switches over to a 2-3 zone, but handled well by Georgetown.
Hayes, the offensive rebound, no. Peak's offensive putback was no good. Here come the Wildcats.
How many opportunities have Georgetown had inside to finish and not been able to complete the play?
Brunson turns the corner. Shot clock at 10. Hart, shot clock at 5. Too strong with a 3. Hayes, a good rebound. Ochefu comes up hobbling a bit. Ochefu laboring down the floor, made a signal towards the bench.
And that's not a good sign if you're a Villanova fan.
Derrickson, you can see Ochefu closing out. What do we have? We've got a blocking foul. A good finish by Marcus Derrickson. And let's see Ochefu.
Inside, you see the grimace on his face right here. It's made the big bucks for to make a decision like this, because is it more important to jeopardize Ochefu and injuring it more, or just sitting him out, relying on the role players to step in and do their job and plan for the long run, which is hopefully a long run in the NCAA tournament. I kind of figured that they're going to sit him a little bit so it doesn't get worse.
Booth in the paint, kicked out, Hart for 3, count it.
Excellent way to attack the zone. Dribble penetration, the ball hops, you move the defense from side to side. Josh Hart on time, on target, able to step up and knock down a deep 3.
Josh Hart's got 9 here on the day. Averages over 15 per game. 11 lead changes. Shot clock at 5 for Smith Rivera. His pull-up jumper off the back of the rim. Hart with a rebound. Booth keeping the dribble alive. Arcidiacono will reset. Reynolds sets the pitch. Shot clock at 10. Booth doesn't like to shoot from the outside. Shot clock at 3. Jenkins, a pump fake, puts it up with 1. Got it.
Excellent defense for 28 seconds for Georgetown. And then at the end, a little dribble penetration. And once again, Justin, I talked about the discipline on the pump fake. You go for it, you give up a 2 off a possession where initially the defense was outstanding.
Jenkins the first in double figures, 11. Campbell for 3. Derrickson trying to keep it alive. It's saved by Booth, and now a foul will be called against Marcus Derrickson.
Nova defensively to extend this lead over Georgetown.
Josh Hart at the free throw line. A 14-1 run. 12-point lead, largest of the game here for Villanova. They've gone with a small lineup. There's a reason why Jay Wright has won Coach of the Year in the Big East for 3 straight years. He loses Ochefu, makes the adjustment. It's been a different team and a different game since he's gone small with his lineup.
Yeah, but the players have to buy into what he's asking. And you work on it every day in practice. And he said, you know, like we like to say, don't talk about it, be about it. And right now, this Villanova team has responded to their coach's voice.
Does Georgetown have any response? Do they have any legs left after last night?
No, it's only 12 points. You knock down a couple shots, set your defense, and that's going to be the key is can you get stops.
A foul against LJ Peak, 8th team foul, so 1-on-1 coming up here for Daryl Reynolds.
And those are the fouls, the mental mistakes you talk about. You can't get the rebound, get back on defense. What you're doing now is you're allowing Villanova to get to the free throw line.
And also a response here from John Thompson III.
To have to guard Josh Hart, who is active and constantly moving. So now the disadvantage of having the size over Hart. Hart has the quickness and speed, and that time attempting to block out, a little too aggressive. Ultimately got the foul called and fouled out the game.
Hart makes the first free throws, got 18. Booth comes in replacing Brunson. 4 of 6 at the line for Josh Hart. A 75% free throw shooter on the season. 14-point lead. Villanova looking like they're going to avoid that cosmic upset here in this quarterfinal game again. As Hayes got it in the foul. The foul, a reaching foul. The foul is called against Jenkins.
Coach, generally what you see is a team like Georgetown who played last night comes out with a lot of energy. Whereas a team that sat out, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get into a rhythm. But then the roles start to reverse when the legs start to go a little bit. And now Villanova gets into a rhythm. And we saw that midway through the second half when Georgetown just couldn't put it together. And Villanova just continued to extend that lead.
It's why what UConn did winning 5 games in a row in the Big East tournament to win the tournament was even more impressive than winning 6 in a row for the NCAA tournament.
It was. I mean, to be able to do it in this league against opponents that know you very well. And I think you have to keep that in mind.
Arcidiacono with 5 on the shot clock. At this point, Villanova is okay if they don't score, but they knock down the 3.
Okay with what?
Taking 30 seconds off the clock.
You know, one thing about a veteran team like Villanova, even when the shot clock gets down under 5, they don't panic. They still manage to get their shot up. A lot of teams who are not as experienced when that shot clock gets down, they get trigger happy. And right now, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, you line it up, you knock it down. Josh Hart like, hey, this is what I do for a living.
Well, Hart's got 17 points this half, 22 on the day. Hayes at the free throw line. Again, it was Hart last year in this Big East tournament, named the most outstanding player of the tournament. Hayes knocks down the free throw. He was the sixth man of the year last year, the most outstanding player in the tournament. This year, first team All Big East. And a lot of people thought maybe he should have been the player of the year over Chris Dunn. Jenkins called for the foul. And that will send Caleb Johnson to the free throw line. And this is not what Villanova wants, to stop the clock and allow Georgetown to put points on the board.
Yeah, you're speaking about Josh Hart, 15 points, about 7 rebounds, but you got to keep in mind how good he is defensively. You know, we don't talk about that sometimes because he can guard a 3, he can guard a 2, can get out there and guard a 1, he can guard a 4. And that's the beauty of it. And you look at the Big East first team, Josh Hart right there. How about Henry Ellenson, the freshman, kind of put Marquette kind of back on the names.
I mean, you've got 2 lottery picks right there.
Oh, Chris Dunn, yes. And Ben Bento, quiet as kept, most improved and first team, the way he's able to stretch the court. And we didn't even talk about Trayvon Blue, the excellent year he had for Xavier.
A reach and foul here against Campbell, so this is when the game will slow down.
Well, if you're Georgetown, you think about, yes, a disappointing season based on expectation, but look at the roster and who's coming back. A lot of young talent with Copeland, Derrickson, and Govan, and Trey Campbell. I mean, the building blocks for this program are there. It's just a matter of how do you take that next step, that next level, to be as consistent as you can be. You can't have those early season non-conference losses that set you back. And also figuring out how to win games late. This Georgetown team has been in a lot of games, but haven't been able to finish. And I think, to be honest with you, Justin, that comes with experience.
Copeland, the corner 3 is good. 10-point game, under 2 to go. Hayes was trying to commit the foul against Reynolds. Again, Villanova right now taking time off the clock. Smart move. Shot clock down to 7. Jenkins. And a shot clock violation. Again, though, at this point with 1:22 to go and Georgetown not fouling, you say, I'll take that shot clock violation and take 30 seconds off the clock.
Well, instead of Jenkins trying to force a pass out and create a turnover, which probably would have been an advantage to Georgetown, he's kind of just held on to the ball.
Peak for Hayes, and a foul by Jenkins sends Hayes to the free throw line. Hayes at the line. 2 of 5 at the free throw line today. He's got 12 points, 9 rebounds. Now 2 of 6. According to Stuart Mandel, these are the 5 teams from the Big East that will make the NCAA tournament. I agree with this.
I do too, but it's for Butler. I think you got to secure something to get a win, because you know how it is in these conference tournaments. Okay, Monmouth gets beat. You figured they were a lot to get in, but you get beat by Iona, so that takes away a spot from somebody. So teams that are kind of right there, you do yourself a favor when you come in and handle your business, because you don't want to put it in the hands of the committee come Selection Sunday.
Stays Villanova ball. You wonder, does Creighton have a shot if they can make a run here in this tournament, win a couple of games? Brunson gets fouled by Johnson, stops the clock with 1:11 to go.
I mean, this year's tournament is so unpredictable, because
if you had to pick one team to say that's the team that I think is going to win it all,
I'm gonna be honest.
So
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't, because until I see the regions and the matchups, to me, that's what this year is all about. Because you don't have a dominant team. It's all about matchups. And if it's a team in your region, in your region that has some things that cause you difficulties, even if you're a number one seed, it's going to be tough to get through it. So to me, I'm just waiting to Selection Sunday to actually see how things shake out, and then from there make a determination.
Now, if Villanova gets the 1 seed, they can advance to the Final Four without ever getting on a plane.
Yep.
Because they would play in Brooklyn and then in Philadelphia.
Right. And that's why it's so important when you talk about the percentages, and I got to get that number of number 1 seeds that get to a Final Four.
Another foul here by Villanova. This is a foul against Josh Hart. And this is the tournament profile for Villanova. Look, they're either a 1 seed or a 2 seed. I think pretty much everyone has them as the 1 seed. Again, a win here today would help that cause.
And I guarantee he'll trade in some of those points to win a Big East title or make a deep run in the NCAA. That's not taking anything away. It's just one of those unfortunate situations. You see the foul here, still hustling by both teams for DSR. That, as a player, Justin, even for me, made it to the Elite Eight and lost to Michigan. Anytime that time of year comes around, the emotions come back up.
Well, that's because it was Michigan.
Well, yeah, it was. But then again, number 1 seed, it's like, what could have happened if we would have gotten to a Final Four? No, and I'm 20-plus years removed from it, but the emotions of that time in my career still permeate and come up. And for DSR, the emotions of not exactly getting and achieving what I set out to do while I was here at Georgetown.
81-67. 20 seconds to go here in this one. Peak lost it. And Hart trying to dribble it out. Villanova. They took that 1-point lead at the half. Georgetown came out looking strong to start the second half. But then the run by Villanova, and they will advance to the